Welcome to the American Extrusion 2017 Health Plan Orientation meeting. In this meeting, we're going to cover new plan variations for Plan 1 and Plan 2. Simply put, over the last year, a study has been performed looking at the amount of claims that are picked up by Blue Cross Blue Shield given our $1,000 deductible 80/20 plan, and we had modeled that out against having a $500 deductible but on a 50/50 basis. After going through all individuals' claims and playing it out both ways, the majority of individuals were in a better position for us to design our plan that way. So that set in motion a modification that produced a rate reduction for families and children. So today, what we're going to present are changes, and changes sometimes are good and sometimes they're not good for a particular individual. I'll be describing a number of characteristics that would likely mean that you're an individual that is benefited by this design change. So let me go through it on a family coverage circumstance to begin with. From last year's 2016 payroll deduction, this type of approach will create a rate reduction for the employee household of $473 and $488 on an annual basis for families. For employee children, it will create a rate reduction of almost $793 and $804 for Plan 1 versus Plan 2. So as a starting point, if you are a family or employee children, the certainty is up front you're going to take a cost reduction on an annual basis, and at that point you have a bit of a head start already in this. For individuals who are employee spouse or employee only, we were facing an increase that would have put us over a 16% increase on cost, which would have affected everybody's rate that way. So for families that see the savings, imagine the difference if we'd stayed put employee children the same way. But for employee spouse and employee only, they're actually seeing a 4% increase in premium, which is much better than the 16% that we were about to experience. But it's hard to relate that given the fact that we've been able to keep the rate lower by making this change. So a $500 deductible, what does it mean for you? $500 means that on any major treatment, you used to have to wait till $1,000 was satisfied. At that point, you would then incur not only the deductible, but if it was an ER, there would actually be an additional copay assessed by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Under this plan, it's a much simpler model. It says that everything goes to a $500 deductible 50/50 plan, meaning doctor office, drugs, hospital, anything goes to this $500 deductible 50/50 plan. So in the design, it's easy enough to see that how will a claim be paid. First off, you're going to satisfy your $500 deductible. You'll then see the carrier start paying 50% of it until you reach the maximum out of pocket. So here's the important part. The maximum out of pocket is unchanged from last year. It's the same maximum out of pocket. So if you were having a baby or having a major event, the reasons we carry insurance, the plan is exactly identical to what you had last year. So for those people that have major treatments going on, likely to hit their max out of pocket, I can now answer the question that it's the same plan for you. So if there is some savings here, you're actually in a better position. So from a standpoint of who's better off, a person who never reached the $1,000 deductible but who had exceeded the $500 deductible in the past is better off because the plan starts to pay sooner, and that works out. For an individual who's never really reached the maximum out of pocket but goes past their $1,000 deductible, it's a bit of a jump ball, and we would volunteer to run an analysis for you based on your last few years of claims to let you see how this would work out on your behalf. So with that said, let's move on to an improvement here, which is, what if instead of having to satisfy the deductible, drug and doctor were covered immediately at 50/50, and that occurs on Plan 2. So in the past, we've been encouraging people to use the BCE network, which is the smaller Blue Cross Blue Shield network, but with very little variation in pricing. It's never really been that much of an issue. And frankly, for purposes on the design of the plan, the ability to record a similar outcome at 50/50 is the fact that drugs for most individuals on generics could range, even if you paid cash for it, somewhere between $3 at Walmart to somewhere in the $15 to $20 range. Generics are very inexpensive. So paying 50% of the cost is a out-of-pocket that's very nominal compared to what the savings that you've received on premium is. So moving on from the drug side, if you have larger, more expensive drugs, paying a 50/50 under the new rules of Blue Cross would have had you ranging from a $75 to $150 to a $250 copay. Paying 50/50 in many instances could work out the same. So the point of all this is that we can actually precisely answer that question for each individual, and the individuals I will tell you that should reach out and touch base with us would be those that have a circumstance where they have very specialized doctors that they need. We can research for you on the BCE versus the PPO. So let's look a little closer now at the actual plans. First off, be aware that the things that are covered at a $0 deductible 100% have actually increased. All things wellness are covered at a $0 deductible 100%. So there's no change there. There's no deductible that you have to satisfy. But one additional benefit that's been added this year is telephonic web doctor visits will be charged with no copay, no deductible, and 100% covered. This is called a teledoc service, very, very popular in the last few years, that individuals who really don't like the idea of having to take off work to go get a prescription now have an option that they're able to use either their smartphone or their telephone to interact directly with a doctor, get the prescription that they need without actually having to go into a doctor's office. Now, this is available for any sort of routine low-grade doctor visit. If it was something serious, obviously an emergency room or less, you would want to stay with your specialist for that. So here's the $0 deductible 100% part on Plan 1. Here's the part that then goes to deductible $500 one time per year, max 3 per family, 50% coinsurance. So all prescriptions, excluding contraceptives, all in-network doctor visits, all in-network hospital services, and all other services. So basically everything goes to a $500 deductible, 50/50 under Plan 1. Max is $3,000 per person, 3 max per family. Okay, same as before on the max. Plan 2 has a $0 deductible, 100%. Wellness services, again, 100% covered. Routine doctor visit using telephonic web doctor is 100% covered. But also, here's the improvement. All prescriptions and all in-network doctor visits do not have to satisfy the $500 deductible on Plan 2. They go right away to 50/50 coinsurance. So what then goes, it's the same thing as Plan 1 here, $500 deductible, all other services at the 50/50 rate, but all things max out at $3,000. We'd like you to email us at dayteam@secureenroll.com, dayteam@secureenroll.com, if you have questions about your own circumstance and would like an analysis performed, or call us to schedule that at 630-756-1169. Thank you for your attention, and